6 years ago, the Mercer farm was located 10 miles east of Sunset Town, providing a living for a small but happy family. Emma and little Jane were Cole's only purpose in life. Cole was once a feared cowboy. He had committed many robberies and lived his life running from the law. This continued until he met Emma. On the day he proposed to Emma, he swore to leave everything behind. All his illegal business would finally end. And it did. They moved to the small town of Sunset where nobody knew him. It took them exactly 14 months to build this charming farm. 3 months later, their life on the farm became even more beautiful with Jane. Every day, Cole dealt with the care of the animals, and Emma took care of the vegetables they planted next to their house. As Cole was leaving the barn, he saw 6 riders coming. He understood that their intentions were not good, but he was no longer carrying a weapon. He told Emma to take Jane and go inside the house. The newcomers were brutal criminals Cole had worked with in a robbery long ago. As they began to speak with Cole from atop their horses, Emma watched from the window with fearful eyes. She thought the bearded one was their leader, only he was speaking. "A very large amount of money will arrive at the bank in Scythetown soon. You will help us rob that bank. We need an expert safecracker like you." Cole shook his head. "No. There is nothing left of my old life, and I stopped doing illegal work a long time ago. Billy." Billy became very angry at this negative answer, drew his gun, and pointed it at Cole. "If you are not with us, I cannot let you live, Cole. If you report us, we will all be caught, and we don't want the sheriff to hang us, do we?" At that moment, 2 men got off their horses to enter the house. Billy said, "No, I have no intention of reporting you. Just get on your horse and leave the farm." Emma hid Jane behind the sofa and took Cole's gun from the drawer. She pointed it at the door. The moment the door opened, Emma fired the gun. One of the men died, the other immediately retreated. Cole was watching what was happening with eyes full of fear. When he started running to the house to be with Emma, Billy shot him in the back. He was lying on the ground, but he was somehow conscious and writhing in pain. Billy got off his horse and approached the house. He took out his lighter, put a piece of straw on the stairs of the house, and lit it. "Your wife will come out soon. Stay alive a little longer to see what happens to her, okay?" Cole looked at Billy with eyes full of rage. The flames quickly surrounded the wooden house, while Cole watched helplessly in tears. The screams of his daughter and wife were heard from the house. Everything was over for Cole. They left Cole wounded on the ground and abandoned him to death. As they rode away on their horses, Cole was lying on the ground unconscious. Everything began that day for Cole. When he reached the town on a horse with great difficulty, he survived with the help of the doctor. The doctor removed the bullet from his back and stitched his wound. 2 weeks later, he was completely healed. When he returned to the farm had turned to ashes. He knew there was nothing left to bind him to the farm anymore. With 2 guns on his belt and enough bullets, he got on his horse and set out for revenge. Cole knew very well where to find them. After a 2-day journey, he arrived at Scythetown, the biggest bank in the region. They had not acted yet. Cole rented a room for himself in the guest house, located diagonally across from the bank. He spent almost all his day and night in front of the window watching the bank. He only left his room to eat. His memories with Emma and Jane gave him strength during this wait. At a time past midnight, Cole heard the sound of horses. He thought to himself, "The time has come." He slowly stood up from his chair in front of the window. He put his belt around his waist. When he walked out of the guest house with heavy steps, 3 men on horses were trying to put dynamite on the bank door. The men on the horses noticed Cole's arrival first. Their eyes widened. They did not expect him to survive. The moment they reached for their weapons, Cole quickly drew both of his guns and fired 3 shots. As the 3 men fell to the ground, Billy and his 2 men in front of the bank door started to run in 2 different directions and fire randomly. Cole took down 2 more with 2 shots. Billy was hiding behind the small wall of the bank with a gun in his hand. He called out to Cole, "Cole, how about the fast one wins?" Cole put his guns on his belt. The 2 men were facing each other in front of the bank. Billy always thought he was a faster cowboy than Cole. Both men were looking at each other without even blinking. Their hands were close enough to draw their guns at any moment. Billy was the first to act, but his speed was not good enough. When a single gunshot was heard, Billy was shot in the arm and his gun fell to the ground. Cole continued to fire in order, first the other arm, then both kneecaps. Billy had collapsed on his knees and was begging Cole. The only thing Cole heard was the screams of Emma and Jane in their final moments. Cole took a few steps forward. Billy's face was now clearer in the moonlight. He raised his gun one last time and finished Billy off with a single bullet to the forehead. As Cole rode away from the town on his horse, he knew very well that this revenge did not cool his heart. He had to do more. While traveling on his horse for 2 days, the only thing he thought about was what he should do now. He could sit in a corner and mourn. But this was not behavior suited to him. Besides, Emma would not want it to be like this. When he arrived at Blackwood Town, the sun was about to set. As he was moving with his horse, he saw a man lying on the ground. He got off his horse, took the man lying face down by the shoulder, and turned him over. He noticed the sheriff's badge on his chest. There was no one around. The sounds of fun were rising from the bar a little further away. He carefully entered through the door of the bar. 4 people were drinking in front of the bartender, and a group of men and women were waiting in front of the opposite wall with their hands in the air. The thin, short man shouted when he saw Cole, "Hey, you! Why are you standing there? Go stand with the others and raise your hands, or you'll go to the sheriff's side." Cole silently looked at the men where he stood. When the thin, short outlaw saw that Cole did not react, he became angry and made the mistake of his life. The moment he reached for his gun, he found himself on the ground with 2 gunshots. The 3 outlaws were trying to understand what happened in shock. At that moment, they reached for their guns, but unfortunately, the end for all of them was the same. Cole had struck down all 3 of them at once. The townspeople thanked him all night long. They were even begging him to be their sheriff. But this was not what Cole wanted. Before leaving the town, he saw the pictures of outlaws hanging on the wall outside the sheriff's office. He had found what he wanted. He would go after the most notorious criminals. He would hunt the most ruthless ones. They had to become unable to harm an innocent person again. He had found his life's purpose. After that day, there was almost no town in the West he did not visit. He could not even remember the number of criminals he had hunted anymore. While the legend of Cole Mercer was spreading from ear to ear, he himself was also the target of notorious criminals. No matter how many times they tried to ambush him, none of them succeeded. No matter who came across him, the end did not change. Cole Mercer's bullets were finding their target exactly on time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, you can support me by liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Until we meet in the next video, take care of yourselves.